the Flames continue on being in the middle. There's lots of turmoil in the NHL world. Thanks, Hockey Canada. Let's get into it. Well, as I said, Flames in the middle. January has continued on the same mediocre path that we've been known to love for our beloved Calgary Flames, holding a whopping record of, I believe, 6-5 in the month of January. So 2024 is doing us no favors.
I mean, should we really be surprised? The Flames kind of like this whole win 3, lose 2, win 2, lose 3, win 1, lose 1 type of thing that they've been doing for, 28 out of the last 30 years, 27 out of the last 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been extremely painful to be a Flames fan for forever. I mean, I talk about the lean 90s, but nobody really fully talks about the lean 2000s either, because it's been a struggle. Really has been a struggle.
2023s and the lean 2020s.
Yeah, lean 22, 23, the lean 15, 16, the lean, man, just up and down. Like, welcome to the middle of the pack. We're the Calgary Flames. We're either going to miss by 2 games or we're leading the charge in all of the West. God knows.
Right up until the playoffs start, and then you kind of fizzle out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, if you want regular season success, baby, the Flames are your team.
Mm-hmm. And, like, let's be honest. I know, I mean, I don't think you're the biggest Markstrom fan, and he had a rough year last year and he had a rough game last game, but I think he's been the best player on the team this season. I actually saw a random stat about a week ago. He was at 917 and league average is 904 this year. Or at least it was then. It's obviously changed, but that's a stat I saw last week. I was like, holy shit. He's actually way above league average, not just in expected saves and all the fancy stats that he's like top 3 in this year, but actually in the counting stats too. So
yeah, right now he's at 910 for the season. I think that stat, I saw that on the broadcast last night they're talking about, but I think that was, they gave a date since a certain date he was a number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but no, I mean he's been pretty consistent for the most part this season. Obviously, the game against the Blues was not his best body of work. I think he let in 3 goals that he would likely want to have back.
And he said that too. Like he in very not Jacob Markstrom like form, because he's like almost too hard on himself a lot of the time. I find he's one of the only guys on the team who's really, really holds himself accountable most of the time, but he blamed one on bounces, which is not really something you hear from him very often. But that game winner, the way it bounced off the ice was kind of weird, but also he should have fucking had it.
Positioning was all out of whack, right?
100%. But
he also
said, he should have made several more saves than he did, and he's
and by several, at least one.
Yeah.
At least one, and we were kind of at least getting a point out of that game. Yeah, it's refreshing to have a goaltender that normally will hold himself accountable, opposed to, say, like a Mike Smith, who it was always somebody else's fault every single goal.
My favorite is still, and I know that it's like, way in the past, and like he was playing for the Oilers at the time, but when Anderson threw that clearing attempt almost from the
right.
other side of the ice from the offensive zone
Yeah.
or from the defensive zone rather, and just threw it up. And Smith was like trying to catch it, and he just missed it, and it went in, and he like went like the amount of excuses that came out of his mouth was freaking hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I lost it in the crowd, and oh, it's like, dude, whether you lost it in the crowd or not, it was in front of you for like 150 feet.
Yeah. You just have to get in the way of it.
Yeah.
Literally your job.
Yeah. But I've really been impressed with Markstrom lately. I know I think he holds more value than he's held in a while on the trade market. I don't think he will be traded because of complications with his no move clause and with his salary and with the team, specifically the teams that are looking for goalies and their salary structure and maybe the assets they would have to move in return and all that type of stuff. I just don't see. There's a couple that I could see, but I just don't see him going to those places.
Right.
Like New Jersey, I don't think he's going to waive his no move clause to go to a team that's well out of the playoffs picture last I checked.
Yeah, likely not, right?
Yeah. Although that team needs a goalie, and that would probably help them a lot, but still,
The amount of goalies that have gone down this year has actually been pretty surprising. I honestly thought that there would be a chance that we could get him into Toronto, even with some salary retained and all that fun stuff. But I mean, Jones has done a pretty decent job for them. Better than I would have ever
Samsonov
anticipated.
pitched a shutout this evening.
Right. Yeah, right. The OT game. That's not normal for a Toronto fan base. I wonder how they're dealing with that emotion.
Well, I saw my one buddy on Facebook put up a status that said Canada's team beat the Jets and shut them out. I'm like,
oh my God!
Like 2 out of their last 8 or whatever they've won, and they're back to the cup, I guess.
The fucking Dallas Cowboys of the hockey world. That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Given I think he was trolling, but still.
I mean, you just never know with people nowadays, right?
Exactly.
You just never know. I think it's been exciting for me for the last couple of games, seeing a couple of prospects get a chance to show us what they've got.
It's been nice to see. I don't think any of them have really shone that brightly, whether it's Schwint or Klapka or. I think those are the only few that have come up recently, but
yeah, Coronado back.
Oh, Coronado's back. Yeah. It's good to see young players come up and play.
Coronado really had a nice attempt
where he cut across the front of the net with the puck.
Yeah. It was a really nice move.
I gotta say, I obviously I'm not a huge Kadri fan, but I've liked how he's playing recently. But I don't think putting Kadri and Coronado together is a good idea.
I don't think so either.
Kadri shoots everything he can.
Yeah.
Coronado needs needs the puck to shoot because that's his main skill is to shoot. So having a guy that always shoots is taking away from why Coronado's up in the first place.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, keeping him with Zari makes sense because Zari makes plays happen and can get you the puck where Kadri
good distributor.
100%. And Kadri just wants the puck so he can shoot it from any possible angle he possibly can put on it. He's always trying to keep them all guessing, I guess.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
honestly, like I caught a little bit of shit for this too, but with Pospisil going down, and I love Pospisil. I've liked what he's brought to the team. I'm not exactly sure if he's, meant to be a top 6 player in the long run, but I think that he's been great in the role he's been given for now. But I think that if you look at how Zari and Kadri and Pospisil have played well together, what makes that line work is part of what makes it work is having a big physical shithead on the right wing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people are against having a fourth liner, a guy who's like a career fourth liner, play second line minutes, but AJ Greer is the most natural fit for what that line needs that we have.
At least while Pospisil is out. I mean, that makes sense, right?
You don't have to be giving him power play time. You don't have to be giving him, he doesn't have to play all of the minutes that Pospisil would play, but he should be on that line most of the game 5-on-5, I think. And Coronado can play on a different line, in my opinion.
Yeah, Coronado with Backlund and Coleman, I think, would be an interesting gritty line. I think there'd be a lot of action there. Other than that, I mean, I don't see Coronado being a fit with Huberdeau or Lindholm, which is weird because Huberdeau, is that prolific passer that Coronado would likely need. I just don't know that he's ready for the passes of Huberdeau.
So I don't want to make this shit on Coronado deal because he's had some really nice plays and obviously he's ripping up the AHL. I think that it's too, like, even though he's so good in the AHL, I think it's too soon for him to be a full-time NHLer. He gets muscled off the puck very easily and he loses it because he just overskates the puck, and he's just, it's not always on his stick when it should be, and he's just losing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whenever he gets to play with it, it just seems like a little bit of pressure at the NHL level is too much for him.
Well, yeah, I mean, you gotta remember he's 5'10" and 180 pounds, and so obviously it's going to be a huge adjustment playing against NHL caliber. Yeah, 100%. And the best way to gather that, I think, would be in the A. I think getting him that confidence and build up his strength.
A summer of NHL training.
Yeah, he needs a summer with Gary Roberts is what he needs.
At the gym, yeah.
Yeah, you want to get his strength up.
And like, I know my one buddy Kyle will watch this, and he's a huge Coronado fan and thinks Coronado is the next big thing. And like, I do think that Coronado will eventually be a really solid Phil Kessel style second line scoring player, which is awesome for the Flames and awesome for us. And I want that. We need a right winger that can shoot. I just don't think now is.
And if you look at other players of his size, like the likes of Mangiapane and the likes of Dylan Dube, basically the same height, same weight on both of them. Those are two other guys that have an issue with being out-muscled in the corners and being bodied off the puck a lot.
They do.
I mean, it's a fair comparison, I think, right?
Yep.
And unfortunately, the other two have made careers in the NHL. I don't know that. I mean, I would rather have Coronado in the lineup over Mangiapane, but that's just a personal opinion.
Well, I'd also rather have my dead grandmother in the lineup over Mangiapane. So there's that.
I mean, they would both be laying down on the ice the same amount of time. God, that feels bad. I apologize for your grandma.
No, it's fine. It's been a few years.
Yeah, good. I mean, not good, but
yeah, more turn of phrase, let's say.
yeah.
But for the and like, I don't think Klapka or Schwint really stood off the page. Like Klapka had a really big hit. I want to say it was it Nugent or it was Gagne behind the net. I think.
Yeah, Edmonton. Yeah. He
absolutely
rocked
rocked
him.
somebody.
Yeah.
Like looked over him, like who's your daddy? It was quite funny, right? Because Klapka's a big guy, right? He's 6'7" or something like that.
Yeah,
A big kid.
6'8", 235.
Yeah, he's a huge guy.
Yeah, harder to muscle off the puck.
And I'd really, really like to see him get more opportunity, more chance.
Mm-hmm.
And Schwint had one shift. Did you notice his number?
He was 79, right? So he thought he was rolling with a train.
Yeah, I thought he was Michael Furland out there.
Yeah,
I think it was his first shift. He absolutely rocked somebody, and he muscled a bunch of guys off the puck. And like he's only 6'2", but he plays like he's 6'6", which is good.
Well, I mean,
other than like a couple shifts, I don't think either of them really jumped off the page, given they're on the fourth line. But
well, yeah, I mean he's had 3 games in the NHL previous, so he should have an understanding of what he can do to contribute, to be noticed, and potentially earn himself a spot on the roster, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would think it obviously didn't work out well in Florida, right? Because he only played the 3, but if he used that as a learning tool, then I would say the first shift was evidence of that.
Yeah, and he also, I mean, he's been playing top line minutes in the AHL for a couple of years now, so that's good. And I was mentioning this to a buddy of mine, and I'm curious what you think of it, because obviously they're not going to send Coronado down, given we have no other forwards currently. But I was thinking, because Coronado, Klapka, and Schwint have played together in the AHL, I don't specifically like it's obviously dangerous to have like an AHL line come up and just play as an AHL line if you're going to give them a whole bunch of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you could kind of spread them out along special teams. Like I'd like to see Klapka in front of the net on PP2. I think that would be good.
I think that would be good. I also wouldn't mind it if they had Greer in front of the net on the second power play either.
I like that too. Yeah. Right.
Like guys that can muck it up and not afraid to get dirty.
Mm-hmm. But I also don't think so. Like most of those guys, well, especially Coronado, like you don't want to bring them up and just give them fourth line minutes, right? But I think you could, because of how the Flames roster is kind of structured and how they have, almost 3 second lines and no first line. Mm-hmm. I think it would be, you could just add them in and just kind of even out the minutes a little bit.
Yeah.
Not play them 5, 6, 7 minutes a game. Maybe play them 11 minutes a game or something like that.
Yeah, I agree, and I think one of the issues I had with the game against St. Louis, where you had Klapka and Schwint and Greer playing together. I mean, Klapka and Schwint only had like 6.5 minutes each. Mm-hmm. And even Greer at 8.5 minutes. I think in a game that we were being heavily outmuscled, in my opinion, I think it would have been important to maybe get those guys some ice time to fight back on that on the hitting scale and kind of get a little more even there.
I could see that, but the one thing I do want, like, I thought they were underwater a lot of the game. Like, a lot of their ice time, which wasn't very much of the game. But I wonder if that would have slowed down a little bit as the game went on. If they had another 2 minutes each, 3 minutes each, maybe they would have figured it out a little bit more. Because like Schwindt's first shift was really good.
Yeah, well, that's what I
And then
mean.
the rest of them were kind of there.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't know who Schwindt would be or normally plays with for the Wranglers. Do you know?
Klapka and Jones, I believe.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Well, then
it was Hospital and Zeri, I think. And then once they got up, I think it turned into Jones and Schwindt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Klapka.
Okay. Because I didn't see really any chemistry between him and Klapka.
No.
But I mean, I'm sure the two of them were just kind of, the excitement of the bright lights and in the crowd. I'm sure can get you if you're not fully paying attention, right?
Oh, 100%.
We know hockey games move fast, but with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you can score faster than anything that happens on the ice. This week, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app with code THPN. New customers can bet just $5 on the NHL and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for gambling problem. Call 888-78-977-77 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2024, all rights reserved.
Like, I'm not expecting the team to win a whole bunch more games this season. Like, they'll win just enough to be, maybe 18th at worst, 19th at worst.
Yeah.
That'll be,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Team tank. Team tank.
Yeah, even after they trade, because I'm getting really worried. Like, first of all, I'm getting worried that they're going to extend Hanifin and the deal is going to be ridiculous. But I'm also getting worried that they're just going to trade Lindholm, and instead of prioritizing picks, they're going to maybe go more in the, sharing Govich in a third type of a way, if you know what I mean. Which, again, I've loved sharing Govich. And the third round pick is a third round pick. But,
I don't know. I can't get a read off of what they're doing.
I can.
I mean, like, as far as the organization is concerned.
I mean, you can't
that's
get
all.
A read off?
I mean, I can, but I just don't see how it's like if you're paid to manage a team and you're looking at the standings, you're looking at the fact that
that's the problem.
All the teams have games in hand, and it's like, if we can just go on like a Edmonton Oiler type winning streak, then we're right in there, baby. And to look at our roster and think that that's even a possibility is just fucking ridiculous. And and I know Conroy's likely got his hands tied as every other GM that has been in the city. But I mean, like, there's got to be a way to present it to the owners and be like, look, like, we need to do
Try
this.
something different.
Yeah, we've been doing the same thing for 30 fucking years and it has not worked.
Yeah.
Hasn't worked. Like, there has to be at some point where the owners, the entire time they've owned the team, has been this middle mediocre bullshit. There has to be a time where somebody can get through to Murray Edwards and be like, look, you're spinning your wheels, bud. Like, this it's not working. It's not going to work. It won't work in the future. It's not working now. It hasn't worked in the past.
I think that one of the things about the ownership group, and maybe not so much John Bean because he's a bit younger, but Murray Edwards is at an age where maybe he won't be around in 4 years. Maybe he won't be around in 5, 6, 7 years, So devil's advocate, I totally agree with you, but devil's advocate is, if you were about to croak, you want to make the most money possible over the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And from a business sense, it makes sense for somebody who's about to croak to do that. But from a business sense, 10 years ago, he should have not been like that. And Ken King should have not been like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's in his 60s, right? Like, it's not like the
I thought he was in his 70s.
Yeah, he was born in 59, December 10th, 59. So he's not, like, I'm not saying that he's young, but he's not at the 80 mark. He's not, he's pretty sure he doesn't walk around with an oxygen tank. Like,
no,
he's got some years left, right? And as far as the money is concerned, if somebody that is older is worried about money when you're already as rich as he is,
that much money, yeah.
Like that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, as I'm not saying you're stupid for the argument of it, but I'm just that to me just doesn't make sense.
Well, it doesn't make sense from
it could be what he's thinking, but
it doesn't make sense for me that he wants, because it's a well-known rumor, but basically fact, that he wants that the 2 games or maybe 3 games of playoff revenue, which also doesn't make sense because, like, the however much that isn't that much in relation to how much he has already, right? So
yeah, well, yeah, and you're splitting that a few ways and all that fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like somebody's got to get through. Like surely he would rather be the owner of a team that contends for a cup. Like, wouldn't that feel better? Wouldn't that help your portfolio slightly?
Wouldn't it be better to have 8 to 10 playoff, 8 to 16 games of playoff revenue? Wouldn't that be better than having 2?
Well, exactly. Because with every round, the revenue just gets higher for that round, right?
And also the revenue gets higher because I think something that a lot of people don't understand about Canadian teams, and it's something that I don't do because I don't buy into the, Canadian team has to win a cup. I would buy into Calgary's got to win a cup. I don't really give a fuck about the other Canadian teams. But a lot of people in Canada hop bandwagons. A lot of people hop bandwagons. In 2004, there was a lot of Vancouver fans and a lot of Montreal fans and a lot of Toronto fans who were on our bandwagon. Last year, there was a lot of fans from around the NHL that were on Edmonton's bandwagon. It's what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I know it happens. It seems
stupid.
Ridiculous to me, but
it's stupid to me, but it happens. Right?
I can't spend my entire life hating a team and then all of a sudden, because they're in the playoffs, be a fan of them. Like, fuck.
Well, that's not how I look at it. But from a business standpoint, more people are going to buy merch, more people are going to watch the game, more people are going to order stuff, more, there's going to be more dome foams you're selling,
Well, that's right. More, and as the playoffs continue on, the weather gets better. You get to fill up the parking lot at the is that what they called it? The red lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just revenue, right? And it's, I don't know. I feel like he's truly missing out on revenue by what he's been doing.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
But that's my thought. I wanted to get your thoughts on some, because I know as far as 6 defensemen are concerned, kind of switching gears here, but Dennis Gilbert, he's had a really good season. Since he's come back from his injury, I think he's struggled quite a bit.
Yeah, he hasn't. He definitely hasn't been the same as he was before that injury.
Yeah, he had one game where Tanev was out, where he blocked like 7 shots or something. He like basically decided he was gonna, bring out his inner Tanev and emulate everything Tanev does. But other than that, I feel like he's been kind of like he had a really, really rough game last night. I'm not pinning the loss on anybody last night, because there was a bunch of, Markstrom wasn't great, and Gilbert had some gaffes, and Weegar was the best flame on the ice, but made like the worst turnover also.
Yeah, he was pretty upset about that.
Yeah.
But that's another player that holds himself accountable, which I like to see.
Well,
I mean, that man needs to have a letter on his chest.
I agree.
I mean, and I think they should decide who they want to take it away and literally rip it off in the locker room in between periods and just put it on.
Well, they should have given him one anyways,
exactly.
In my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
It should be Lindholm, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, how do you continue to have a player with a letter on his chest that refuses to sign a contract, that doesn't want to be on the team any longer? Like, how do you give him a letter?
Yeah.
I know, that's just my thought. I mean, at least speculated. Whatever. You can see it. You can see it with his body movements and his.
He wants to play for the team if they pay him $9 million for 8 years.
Shit, I played for the team for 6.
I'd take 875.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Fucking don't lowball me, motherfucker.
They're not lowballing you. That's fucking almost 8 times as much as they make now.
Yeah, that's fair.
More than 8 times as much as they make now. Fuck.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, what do you think about Gil? You think he's been having a bit of a rough time lately, Dennis Gilbert?
I think he's been having a rough time for sure. I don't think he's responded well to pretty much having a new D partner every game.
I can agree with that. Well, it's been Australia for a couple games now.
Yeah, I think you're likely right on that.
And I think that's what part of the problem. I think Australia is a complete fucking train wreck.
I don't think it's as bad as you do. Not saying that he's good, but I mean, Gilbert's been back 2 games?
2, 3, something like that.
Yeah, because he didn't play against Montreal. He played against Edmonton and the Blues. So I think it's been 2 games.
Yeah.
And he's been right around the 10-minute mark and a -1 in each one of those games. He at least had a couple of hits against Edmonton, which, at least do something.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he's just ramping up. One thing that bothered me a little bit, and I don't know what the logistics of it were, but I know they sent Nick DeSimone down.
Yeah.
I thought DeSimone was maybe not much better than Osterley, but at least marginally enough that he should have been playing over Osterley most of the time. And again, not saying he was good, like just
Well, I think what happened there was his game against the Leafs was really bad,
yeah,
and that was the last time he played. So
fair enough.
yeah, the two people that were sat out in the game against St. Louis were the two people sent down or put on waivers for the purpose of being sent down.
Yeah. And Radiska, like, are you just over it?
I mean, yeah, honestly, I mean, he in my opinion, he had it by the balls. All he had to do is put in that effort, right? And you and I have talked about it numerous times on this show that he has the skill, he has the ability, he lacks effort, and he lacks give a shit.
I've said it, like you said, we've talked about it on the show before, and I know it's probably a bit of an exaggeration, but I truly think that if he had the give a shit of maybe not Mangiapane this year, but Mangiapane most years, because you can't, as much as we fault Mangiapane's effort, fault Mangiapane's skill, you can't really fault his effort most of the time, I think.
Yeah. Yep,
but
exactly.
if you take Mangiapane's effort and you put it into the skill and size of Adam Ruzicka, you have like Mario Lemieux.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You now have somebody that can play on your first line.
Eric Lindros.
Yeah,
like
Yeah, yeah. Then you have your replacement for Lindholm. You can trade him. Let's go.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
And it's too bad because we've seen flashes. Like he was playing with Lindholm for a couple games last year. He's played with some high skilled guys, and he's had some shifts where your jaw is on the floor, and he's pulled off some moves where your jaw is on the floor, and you just can't believe that this guy did that. And like then he goes and sits in the dressing room for intermission, comes back out, and it's like he just forgot that he gives a shit, and then continues to do that for the next 15 games. It's mind-blowing.
It's really bizarre, right?
Because you see the skill.
Yeah, you see the skill. He's a big kid. He can be physical. He's not overly physical, but he's like when he's in the zone and on, he's a good gritty player with great hands.
I don't think he's physical in the hitting sense. I think he's good at muscling guys on the boards.
Exactly.
And stuff like that when he's on. But when he's not on, he's like fucking Sergei Kostitsyn.
Oh yeah. Yeah, when he's not on,
laziest you can be.
Yeah, he does not care. And you cannot light a fire under him, it appears, right? When he gets into that mode, that mode will last 2-3 games. And then all of a sudden he comes back. It was like, oh yeah, that's right, Adam. There he is. It's good news. Let's keep on this train. And then
10 games maybe. I wouldn't say 2 or 3 games. Yeah. That mode lasts for about 10 games, and he comes back and plays a good, 4 or 5 periods.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, and honestly, just the fact that he can't stay on the, within the roster, right? Like he gets healthy scratched a lot, and
it doesn't light a fire under him.
No, exactly. It doesn't motivate him to try harder to stay in the lineup.
And
I think that's part of the problem with the NHL pay structure is, you make your money, right? Instead of earning your money every game or every season.
Yeah. And like Walker Dewar has been fucking bad this year, but he gives a shit. Like I would like, I'd rather see him in, obviously he's down with the Wranglers now, but I'd rather see him in the lineup 90% of the time over Ruzicka.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, I guess They got sent down today, or did they get sent down yesterday? Did they clear?
I thought they got put on waivers today.
Was it today? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Okay.
they were just healthy scratch last against the Blues, so I think
Do
it's
you think
just
they get? Yeah, that's true. Do you think they get waived? Or sorry, claimed?
I don't think so.
Because if I'm correct, I'm just looking it up right now. I don't think he's at league minimum. Oh, yeah. Okay, so he signed a deal. Yeah, he's making 762,000, which is a very odd number.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
Don't
actually less than his entry level. That's 40 grand less than his entry level deal was.
that's what you get, right?
Yep. So you know what? Actually, at 762, I could see him getting claimed.
Yeah, and if he does, then I wish him all the luck.
Yeah, we were talking to our buddy Matt earlier today about it, and if he doesn't, then great. If he does, whatever. I'm over it.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I've seen too many seasons of it now where he just doesn't care. D Simone, I don't think he actually. I could be wrong on this, but I don't think he actually can get claimed because he's been up and down so many times this year.
Is that how that works?
I think if you clear, I don't know. I think it's a certain amount of games, but I think that if you clear waivers, then you don't have to clear waivers again for a certain amount of days or games or weeks or something like that. So he might have to, but either way, he hasn't been claimed before, so I doubt he gets claimed again.
Right.
I could see Rosiska getting claimed.
Yeah, and like I said, so be it.
Yeah, because remember that happened with Phillips last year. Not to bring him up, but he got sent down, brought up, and then sent down again, and didn't have to clear the second time because of the rules. Sorry, I know a lot about the NHL salary cap and that type of stuff, but some of the rules are beyond me.
They're beyond a lot of people. It would appear.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has the same contract, eh? Nick does D Simone. 762 500.
That must be minimum.
That must be minimum, yeah.
Because it was 750 last year, I think, but
and his minor salary is 325, where Adams is actually more.
Is it 800?
775.
Yeah. So
I suppose they were confident that he wasn't going down, I guess, right?
Well, I think he's on a one-way, isn't he? I could. So, yeah.
Yeah, and his contract expires with Arb rights as an RFA. So, I mean, I don't like his chances of a huge pay increase, but
I feel the arbitrator is probably just going to tell him what all of his previous coaches have told him.
Yeah, try harder.
Yeah. But other than that, what should we get into here? You want to get into it?
Want to do the elephant in the room to finish off the show?
I guess so. Let's do some of the depressing, disappointing shit. But let's do it.
As we started off with the intro, the 2018 Team Canada junior team, led by none other than Mr. Dylan Dube as their captain, they've got themselves in some hot water, as everybody knows. It's been going on for a number of years. This investigation.
It's been going on for so long, many people forgot.
Yeah, I believe the victim was paid a settlement to kind of go away, to which the London Police Department decided, no, that's not how this works. And so they've been doing their investigation for some time and have now called on 5 players to turn themselves in for the purpose of, I assume, in just communication of some kind. We don't really know at this point because they're keeping it pretty close to the vest. But of course, with the speculation comes everybody looking at who potentially it could be. And of course, there's been 4 players that have taken a leave of absence from their team to
within the last 2 days.
Within the last 2 days, it's highly speculative. Obviously, we got
also very coincidental.
Super coincidental. I believe Dylan was the first one, and his was listed as mental health reasons.
Mm-hmm. And then
the
Carter Hart.
Yeah, and then Carter Hart, and then of course a couple of guys from Jersey, or who played for Jersey,
and
Michael McLeod. Yeah, Michael McLeod. All as well as
who hasn't played in the NHL because of this for quite some time. Has left his team in Switzerland, I want to say, or Sweden, or wherever he's at in Europe. He's on his way back too. Yeah,
which is interesting, right? I mean, to have somebody leave country to come back. I mean, obviously he's a person of interest for whatever reason. He was drafted by Ottawa, right? So Ottawa refused to re-sign him after all the allegations came out, and good on them. And
I think highly speculative, and also it happened I want to say like a year and a half ago or something like that now, but I believe that whole situation was more along the lines of him not wanting to be around these guys, and not how do I say this? More like he wanted to get the fuck out of Dodge, and less that Ottawa wanted him to get the fuck out of Dodge. I think it was more him wanting to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Some people run from their troubles.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
again,
obviously,
I could be wrong on that. That's this stuff we could be wrong on. It's just, unfortunately, a reality. However, I do want to say that I've been outspoken on this show before, a couple years ago, and last year, and earlier this year. Every time the Team Canada thing comes up, it needed to be figured out. It's still not figured out. The whole situation is ridiculous that it's taken this long to get to where it is, which is like barely anywhere.
Yeah.
So at least it's moving in what seems to be a good direction. Up until this year, I've always been a fan of Dube on the ice, but if he does, innocent until proven guilty, but if this is true, if what's been speculated is true, then he can fuck right off, and that's about it, in my opinion.
Yeah, it'll free up cap space for the Flames, and we move on. And if
hopefully
the allegations
the young lady finds some peace,
100%. If if the speculation is true and he's found guilty in court, then
and not just Dube, all the rest of those guys.
100%, 100%, all of them. Yeah, anybody that was involved in as it's been described, in my opinion, pretty horrific act.
From what I've read, don't need to get into it. You can Google that if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. As a father, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine what the family would be going through. Even now, right? Like it's been 6 years for God's sake, and it's still going on. So hopefully they can eventually get some closure. I hope that the London Police Department does their press conference, I believe, in a week or two, to maybe shed some light. Yeah, shed some light for everybody. And like I said, so in the interim, got 4 players in the NHL that are not with their teams, speculated to be on their way to London to face whatever's happening there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like I said, if Dube is found to be guilty, then sayonara. It'll save us $3 million plus, because his contract was going into ARB after this year too. So whatever, you move forward and then you move on as far as the organization is concerned.
Agreed. And I hope that, I hope that whether or not the law does what it's supposed to do in this, I hope that the law does what it's supposed to do in this situation. But even if it doesn't, I hope the NHL and anything Hockey Canada can do, which is probably pretty minuscule at this point, but anything the NHL can do, whether it's suspensions, whether it's whatever, these guys need to be held accountable. And things like this usually get swept under the rug, and I'm happy that it's doesn't seem to be that. Yeah,
no, that's exactly it. It's not being swept under the rug. They're, if they did it, they're not going to get away with it, in my opinion. I think the NHL has a pretty tarnished image, a reputation over the last, 10 years almost. And this is certainly not going to help because, in my opinion, I would think that they knew or know at least the majority of the actual story. And if nothing has been done to this point, I think it's a very bad look on them.
Well, I think they've been part of the legal process, so I'd hope that they would know at least part of it more than we know, which is not much.
Not much, right? Yeah, the whole thing's been pretty tight-lipped, right, since the beginning. Which, obviously you want to protect the identity of the victims and all that fun stuff. So it's
anyone watching this show, pretty much. I mean, I guess Dube is from the Calgary area, so maybe not everybody watching the show, but most people watching the show, Chris and I included, are pretty separated from the whole thing. But for me personally, it's been frustrating seeing article after article 6 months apart with literally nothing new.
Yeah.
For a couple of years now. And it's just like finally something is actually happening. So see where it goes.
Yep. All right. So now that we got that garbage out of the way, Flames have 2 more games before the All-Star break. Thursday night against Columbus, and then Chicago's in town on Saturday. What do you figure? How are we going to do in those 2 games?
I thought we were done the depressing talk. Or
hey man, you're on Team Tank, so unless you're going to say that it's depressing that they might win, I don't want to hear it.
It's funny. I texted into 960 the other day. It was a bunch of people getting pissed off about Mark Savard, and I'm like, I mean, the team is paying him to tape sticks and not really do much with the power play, but a shitty power play actually helps Team Tanks. So
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will win one of the games.
Which one?
And we'll be embarrassed out of the building in the other one. I don't know which one. They're both terrible teams.
Yeah, I think we win against Chicago on a Saturday night, but I think Columbus is going to have our our number because, well, that's just the way we roll with lower seeded teams, right?
Play down.
Play down, 100%. I mean, we're only 10 points ahead of Columbus, so we can start off with giving them 2 on Thursday night. Like, why not? Let's just up our stock.
I just want to throw this out there too, like to the people who want us to squeak into the playoffs and are all happy about how good Blake Coleman is doing. The fact that Blake Coleman is our highest scorer is a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's great that he's doing good, but it's bad for the team that Blake Coleman is their top scorer. He is a third line shutdown player.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love the fact that he's having a stellar year. I mean, a career year for somebody of his age and his career. That's freaking great for him, not great for the team. Hey, do you know what we didn't bring up at all this whole time?
What?
Kylington potentially playing against Columbus on Thursday night for the first time in a year and a half.
I don't know if that's gonna happen. But he's played a couple games in the AHL. I've seen some highlights, and I've seen him skating around with the team. And it seems like and they sent DeSimone down, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but DeSimone plays left wing, doesn't he?
Well, doesn't Kylington play left wing too?
True. Fair point. Fair point.
Anyways, honestly though, and this is, kind of in the same vein as even though I've been a Dube fan in the past, and he's, fuck him if this is bad. I haven't been a Kylington fan in the past, but if he's playing, that's fucking great.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy for him. That like life is more important, and if he can get back to his NHL career, and if he can be the catalyst to come in and make trading Hanifin or Tanev more palatable for the front office, that's great for all involved, and especially for his mental health. I think getting back to playing regular NHL games at the level he's capable of, hopefully is going to happen and is good for him.
Yep, absolutely. I think he, if he gets into the lineup tomorrow, he'll have a pretty good ovation from the fans, I would suspect. I mean, he's been pretty widely liked by the fan base over the years, I do believe. I wish him well. I hope he can get into the lineup. That would be cool. Cap Friendly still has him on LTIR, but of course they're going to hold out until the bitter end on that. So that status likely wouldn't change until at least noon, 1 o'clock tomorrow, if in fact it is the case.
Yeah.
So,
and you know what? I'm going to knock on wood here because, as the media says, mental health isn't a linear thing, so we don't know if he's going to be in or not. But I feel like it's imminent at this point. Whether it's Columbus, whether it's Chicago, whether it's after the All-Star break, whether it's 3 weeks away, I think he's going to get in, play 10, 15 games this year. Yeah, exactly. I think it's definitely going to happen. He's already played a couple of games for the Wranglers, which is cool. Got in some ice time, bit of conditioning. And the Wranglers coach said his legs are still as they were, which is good. He's been quick as far as skating is concerned, but that's awesome because like one of my
main things with him has always been that he looks like Bambi on ice sometime when he's skating around, right?
Yeah.
So if his legs are the same, then he hasn't skipped a beat.
Fast though.
Oh, right, fast.
He is fast though.
He is fast.
Just like Dube is fast. Anyways,
that's right.
But yeah, the coach also said, he's his reaction time needs some work. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Whether he needs a couple more.
That'll come with practice and game experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
All
right. Well, I think we'll probably call it there, eh?
I think so. Go ahead and smash that like button. Please share us with your friends if you can. We want to get some followers up on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, iHeart, everywhere. Follow us on Facebook, obviously, Armchair GM Podcast, and Armchair GM _pod on X. And thanks for tuning in for another show. Cheers, everybody. Go Flames.
We'll get back into it a little bit more frequently over the next little while. I had a first aid course I had to do over the last couple of weeks, so we haven't been able to do one in the last couple of weeks, but we'll be back to weekly, I think, here. Maybe do a couple lives in the next little while as well, some post-game shows.
I like it.
All right,
everybody.
Cheers, everybody. Go Flames.